Okay, so we haven't talked about, everybody knows you for Steve Davis. You made snooker huge. You and Steve, you jumped headlong into boxing and managed some huge characters, Chris Eubank, for example. Did you ever try and manage their persona? I mean, they couldn't have been more opposite people, or did you just let let them go?
I think the role of the promoter was really, I've always considered sport to be a soap opera, and soap opera is inhabited by personalities. And we often say today, oh, there's not the personalities there used to be in sport. And that's probably partially true, simply because today's sport's all about technicals, all about winning, all about consistency. And a wayward personality doesn't actually fit in with consistently winning, because they have other things. So with everybody, I've always tried to mould them into what I thought was an acceptable face for their sport that would achieve notoriety, and coupled with their brilliance would present commercial opportunities far beyond normal. But you can't change people, because that comes across very false. So in Steve's case, I would always say to him, you're the boring one. You wear a white shirt, dark suit, you drink water and you don't talk much. And then with Dennis Taylor, for example, I would say, you're the funny Irishman. You wear those big glasses and you crack jokes. And Eubank, it would be like, I love the monocle, I love the motorbike, I love the big van. But these were things where the sportsman has to contribute, because they're the ones that say, I can't do that, or, yeah, that's me. So you actually take aspects of each sportsperson's personality and expand it to a certain stage where you can get media, you can get awareness, and you create a personality beyond just being a sportsman, so people can associate with you. So Steve became interested in Steve Davis. Eubank became simply the best, and so on, And if you look at all my sports, especially something like darts now, which is obviously gangbusters size, everybody's got their own walk-on music, everybody's got their own name. But it's part and parcel of creating this soap opera for the wider audience.
Now, you give your enthusiasm for all the sports you have become involved in, sort of jumps out when you read your book and stuff. Piers, you give the impression that you just sort of dived in and learned as you went, but is that disguised in hours of research and planning, really?
I think the two go hand in hand. The first thing is to have passion. I won't promote a sport that I'm not passionate about. I don't particularly like Formula One. I don't particularly like tennis. I acknowledge the people that do it are fantastic sportsmen and women. It just doesn't turn me on, for whatever reason. I can't spend the limited hours in my life doing something I don't enjoy. So if I have no passion for a sport, then I won't get involved. But when I have passion, I involve myself 101%, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and always have done. I'm an anorak in some ways, with results and rankings, formats, trying to work out the logistics of staging events all over the world. It gives some people sleepless nights. I sleep like a baby because I'm confident in my own ability. But, of course, part of that confidence is built on the fact that once the original dive once you're in the water, then you've got to work out where the currents are and where's where's the deep spot and so you do rely on data enormously. You do rely on research. You don't just go in and say, you have your own creativity of what you want to achieve, but to do it, you have to take in a lot more than just passion. It has to be a business. It has to be a sustainable business. And sportsmen and women are notorious for going where the bigger buck is. So you have to commercialise at a level that you keep them happy. And when we look at something like darts and snooker, really the two of them, the prize money's gone up in darts from £500,000 to 20 million. The snooker from 3.5 million to 20 million. And this is just a stage of an onward journey, an upward journey. And it will rely on the personalities to deliver entertainment and for us to do the work that commercialises it to the highest possible extent. Our job is a fiduciary duty towards sportsmen and women to increase their value, their worth, and make sure that the sacrifice that they have made in their life to entertain us changes their life financially.
Okay. Now, could you save horse racing?
Yes, easily.
What would you do?
I'd instigate the return of the betting tax immediately. You see, people don't tell you the truth. Horse racing, there isn't a punter out there. Horse racing is a massive business and I'm passionate about it. If I wasn't 76 and if there wasn't so many vested interests, I would do it. But I know it's going to take a huge price out of my life and I'm not going to pay that at my age. But if you had one person ruling, see, I believe in a benevolent despot. The trouble is too many people are governed by self-interest and therefore you don't get the job done. Horse racing only needs one thing. It's got everything going for it. It just needs more money. It needs more prize money. It needs a wider berth of ownership. I mean, some people look down on syndicates, for example. That's just snobbishness. These are people that want to be involved in horse racing. They should be welcomed in with open arms. There isn't a punter out there, a normal punter. I say normal, not millions of pounds. I'm talking about a normal punter that would begrudge 2.5% of their winnings going back into horse racing. None. None. Horse racing employs over 100,000 people. It's great for the economy. It does a lot of things for peace of mind. What people that don't want it are the big punters that are working on margins so small because they're gambling so big, the 2.5% would put them out of business. I say, bloody good riddance, mate, because you're not contributing anything to horse racing.
Don't you need them as aspirational people, though?
No?
Give people, don't you need winning punters to be aspirate, you know, to be...
But I don't want gambling to become the bad side of gambling where people get addicted to it. Aspiration is fine. Aspiration for a trainer, for a jockey, fine. Aspiration for people for wanting money for nothing is not fine. Betting is fun. I love a bet. I could gamble millions. I don't. I gamble hundreds. And I love walking away with some bookmakers' money. £500 in cash in my pocket, I'm a multi-millionaire. But the industry needs help, and it needs help from the grassroots side. And the government and horse racing could change it like that. 2.5% stuck straight into prize money would be an enormous benefit and would elevate horse racing to be more affordable for the average punter. You've got less than 5% of punters that own. I own a lot of horses. It's a passion. To my mind, I'm not doing it to make money. I like it when I do, but it doesn't happen very often. It's like loaning Leighton Orient Football Club. I get one good day a year, if lucky. But what you need to have is enough obstacle-free entries. It needs to be a level playing field, not just for the big guys, not just for the premier horses. It needs to be more of the British way of life. And bookmakers have a big part to play in that. They have to pay a fair and proper amount. The punter is quite happy. I don't understand why we don't do it straight away. And how much would 2.5%? I don't know if you're aware of how much is paid out in winning bets every year by bookmakers in the UK.
No.
It's billions of pounds. 2.5% of that, which is not going to be missed by a punter. It may put a few big players out of business, and I say good, because big players don't help the sport. Very, very simple.
Okay, now, last few minutes of this last part. As you become older, more successful and totally comfortable, how do you keep yourself inspired to push on?
It's a game. I'm playing the game. I'm playing the game. If I'm playing golf and I'm playing off 24 handicap, I'm playing every shot to win. I don't know any other way. I would think it to be a waste of my time if I wasn't giving that 100%. In a few weeks' time, I go to Atlantic City to play in the US Open pool, the biggest pool event in the world. I haven't played pool for 50 years. I'm practicing. I'm going to get annihilated. I want to experience the other side of the fence. I'm never going to do that in boxing because I'm going to get badly hurt. But I will have a wonderful day of my life. And I will try harder than any person I know, even in the knowledge that technically I have no chance of winning. That doesn't matter. What matters is what you put into it. When you look yourself in the mirror and say, I couldn't have given more. So in a business sense, Matchroom's profits rise and we're doing more and more. I hope we're doing some good for the sport. We're certainly doing good for ourselves, and I think we're doing good for sportsmen and women. I think we're doing good for the country, because I'm a big fan of what sport adds to the enjoyment. You've only got to look at the punters at Goodwood last week, or whether you're going up to Aintree. They're having a good time. Why has dance been so successful? Because they're having a good time. It's not complicated. Life's a bitch. Let's just get out and enjoy ourselves and try and win every single argument.
Now, Matchroom is hugely successful, and it's a dynasty now. Eddie's taken over at the helm. Do you think there's one pivotal moment in your career which was made the difference between you being the huge success you are and an also-ran?
Not one pivotal. The pivotal moment can only be Steve Davis winning the World Snooker Championships in 1981. Now, it was two working class boys, both lived in council houses, both took on the world, and we absolutely won every argument. The most exciting time of my life, to go from nothing to something. To go from something to something more is just progression. But that quantum leap through came about in the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield in May 1981. Since then, I've been blessed for some reason or other to have personalities come that I've warmed to, and they've warmed to me. And whether it's Anthony Joshua, whether it's Chris Eubank, it doesn't matter. The fact is that we've been honest and straight with everyone. Integrity is the keystone now in our business, and we have a reputation that is unsurpassed globally. That's the asset that means more to me than anything else.
Okay, now I was going to read out your 10 commandments.
Yeah.
I've got time just to do
Yeah,
that. You make a little comment about each one.
Yeah.
It's better to be born lucky than good looking.
How many times have I told you? You have to have that little bit of luck.
Tell the truth, it's easier than telling lies.
When you get to 76, I can't remember the lies. I have to tell the truth.
Sheer work ethic can make you look like a genius.
I am no academic. What I've achieved has come mainly just from working my nuts off.
We already talked about this. Pressure is only felt by those who fail.
Well, again, you've got to believe in yourself, and no excuses. You can't make excuses to yourself.
You run a better business and life, and a better life if you think poor.
The most important commandment I've ever written. You have to have value, you have to give value. To have a successful business is a two-way street.
Unusual things happen every day. It's how you deal with them that makes them unusual.
Who knows what's round the corner, but you have to be ready to adapt.
Life ends in tears, so smile for the rest of it.
One thing's for sure, it's tears when we're born, it's tears when we die. We are the only people we can determine what we're going to feel like in the intermediary period. And it's better, and it annoys people if you're always happy.
Your life doesn't change by sitting on the sofa.
Well, again, it's come back to work ethic. You know, you've got to push the extra mile, sometimes at the expense of domestic relationships as well. You have to have your mind focused and a very clear vision.
Avoid being a secret. If you're good, admit it and shout it from the rooftops.
How can I reach out to customers, to fans, to sportsmen and women if they don't know me? What chance do I have? Don't be a secret. There's no value in being a secret.
And finally, when you need a hand, you're more likely to get a kick in the nuts.
This is one of life's great mysteries. When I was poor, no one gave me anything. Now, there's a queue of people trying to give me things. It's not really a rule of life. It's just one of the anomalies of life. I don't understand why it's like that. But hey, we'll take it if it's free.
And finally, there's going to be a lot of people inspired by this, I know there is. If you could give one nugget of advice that will keep them in good stead as they make their way in business, what would it be?
Focus. Focus on your objectives like a horse has blinkers in a race. You don't want to see the people coming up on the outside. You just look at the target. And when you go through first, that's the ultimate prize.
Brilliant. Barry Hearn, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.